right, we are going to dive into another deal, Structure Sunday. We are fortunate enough to have two coaches, not one, with us, Steve Mernick from lovely, sunny Connecticut, and Cami Gausha from, it's never sunny there, but Ohio. Welcome, guys.
It is not sunny today. You're right. Thank you.
Or any day. All right.
All right.
Steve, the reason Cami's here, so I can give the audience context, is this was kind of a joint effort, which is not uncommon in our community. So it's cool that we once in a while point it out. So Cami and Steve, we're just going to ad lib whenever you guys want to jump in. So let's start, Steve, with just the deal type and the source.
Yes, this is a expired, and it's a sandwich lease purchase.
Okay, this deal, if you know, was on for how long before it expired? Do you know that?
It was somewhere around 4 to 6 months before I spoke to them. So it was expired for a month when I talked to them, but it was on with a realtor for 4 to 6 months.
Okay, cool. Okay, it's pretty standard on that front. But you put this under agreement in, like you were just telling me, because I didn't know, May of 21, was it?
No, so this is interesting. The first time I talked to this person, this seller, was November. I have it in front of me, November 1st, 2021. It took all the way until May to get to the point of our first contract out for them to review. Now, what you should know is they did not sign anything, and we didn't move forward. We continued to negotiate, and we signed November 1st, 2021.
Okay, so what was briefly, what was the communication between, if I'm understanding you, May and November? Like just drag and feed, or what was it?
So the reason why there wasn't like this huge rush was because there was tenants in the house when I spoke to them for a year. So their tenancy ended October 31st.
That changes motivation. Okay.
It does.
All right. You structured what kind of term on a sandwich?
This is a 36-month deal here.
36-month. Okay, for education purposes, so everybody understands the sandwich, we don't talk price, we talk what's the underlying debt we're starting with that's going to be lower when we cash out, and what's the equity we're promising the seller. So the debt on this house, when you signed it up, was how much?
$292,634.
And I say when you signed it up, sorry for the vernacular, when Steve put this under contract, that was the debt. That's going to be an important thing to remember when we get down to payday 3 for the viewer to know. A little bit different. How much equity was promised, Steve?
$201,090.
Okay. Just for the sake of the formula, that comes to like $493?
Yeah, $493. Yeah, and change.
Okay. When she was on, if you have it, what was she on for as an expired?
She had it on the market. So you should know this as well. The market had shifted drastically just because of the nature of 2021. When she had it on the market, she had it for, I believe it was $419. This is different than usual. And then when we came back and we finally got numbers, the numbers changed drastically. Originally, she wanted $398 when we talked in 2020. And then the market shifted after the end, like kind of like the end of the year. And then she wanted $420, and then we couldn't agree on that. And then finally, when we agreed, the price of the property had jumped drastically up to just under $500,000, and she wanted to lock in the current price, and that's what we did.
Okay, that sounds like that was a major driver for her.
It was.
Okay, turned around, and this is where Cami came into play pretty hot and heavy with the buyer, because that's one of many of her specialties, and that is you sold it for how much?
We sold it for I'm sorry, go ahead, Cami.
$529,900.
$529,900. Can you guys talk about, and I don't care what order, because I wasn't in but maybe 2 conversations, how much teamwork this started taking? You're both high 6, you're both coaches, coincidentally. How much teamwork did this take, and kind of that whole piece, and then we'll jump into the math. I think that's important for viewers to know. We don't talk about it enough. The amount of communication in the community, granted you're coaches, but the amount of community involvement in general is huge.
Yeah. Cami, let me relay a ground here first before you jump in. So I had this property on the market for 60 days and was having tons of trouble with it. And I reached out to Cami and I said, I need you to put your cape on. I need help. That's
All right,
exactly
when you
what
say trouble, what trouble?
we just were
You
having.
weren't selling it.
We had a lot of trouble selling, a lot of objections about the monthly and the price. And I needed somebody that was dialed in. And that's why I reached out to Cami.
Thoughts, Cammy?
Well, yeah, as soon as we got it, within a week, I said, you're right, you're way off on the numbers because the monthly isn't driving the right people for the purchase price. It was just, I can analyze the numbers and typically know if the monthly is at the right place, and it just wasn't. So we went ahead and actually adjusted the monthly, totally drove so much inquiries. I mean, I couldn't, between doing my own stuff plus Steve's inquiries on this property, was very, very busy. So I knew right off the bat that we had hit the right monthly number for the property, but then we were getting tons of kickback on the price. And so I talked to Steve about possibly going back to the seller, renegotiating. It didn't sound like that wasn't going very well.
Yeah.
So I said, I think you should do an appraisal because, I mean, not only are people saying this, realtors are like even inquiring on this house just to do an outright purchase for some people. And, the purchase price just was really a bear. And so that's what we ended up doing. Getting an appraisal on the property. And after that, we felt very, very good about the purchase price that we had at $529,900. We had dropped it from $549,900.
Okay, so you said something I want to point out because I would bet out of the several thousand people that watch these that there are a lot of new people or not even in real estate yet wondering, wonder if I should do this. You said you know how to, whatever your words were, you know how to look at the numbers now and you knew right away. So let's go back 3 years. You were a nurse. Did you know how to do that then?
No.
Okay, I'm just pointing out for the new people. You can learn this. Okay, Cammy learned it. She was a nurse and went full time. Steve learned it. He was in the field with a job. I think working nights mostly, right, Steve? And he's full time, so you can learn it. And if you want to be part time, you can learn it. It's okay. If you're brand new, I want you to know there's a learning curve. They went through it, and here we are. They're both experts. All right.
Sure.
Anything else on the community front / teamwork front before we dive into the math?
I mean, this property today at day 100 and what's today? It was 120 days we had on the market for this one to sell it. Today's what, the 8th, so it'll be 128 days that we've had it on the market. If I didn't reach out to somebody who knew this or was better at this than me, I would have never got done. We would have expired. And I spent an entire year trying to get this thing and make it work and solve problems. And I knew I needed to reach out to the person that could get us to the finish line. And who was that person? That person from our community. Who's now a very close friend of mine. So
It's awesome.
it's awesome.
Good stuff. All right, let's dive into the math here, and that might kind of drum up some other things. So, deposit from the buyer. I think you guys have this signing as of this day. The signing's in 2 days, right? Day and a half?
Yeah.
Yep.
2 o'clock.
Great timing. All right, so deposit from buyer.
$60,000, and that is in two split payments.
So
of $30,000.
in 2 days, it's 30 grand. Do we capture first month or no?
Yes, we did. We did a prorated amount because he's literally probably going to move in that day.
Yeah.
So we did a prorated amount since it's in the middle of March. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what it was. $2,092, I think, is what
All right,
we
let's
did.
say 2K. So
2002.
2K came in for the prorated month that we don't have to send out to anything, correct? Is that where we're going? Yes.
Yes.
So again, we do this all the time, but I want to make sure the people watching this know $30,000 is going to get credited to the down payment. $30,000 in how long is the next $30,000?
12 months.
In 12 months is also going to be credited to the down payment. $2,000 went into Steve's Hip National Bank, so that's his money. That's not credited anywhere. That doesn't have to go out to a mortgage. Nothing. Okay, that's just one of the many techniques that we have that are built into the agreement. You don't even have to worry about it. It's built into the agreement. It says you start payments 30 days later. This happened to be a prorated situation, but half is good. All right, monthly payment on this 292 debt.
Cami, you want me to jump in?
Yeah, it's 2903.
2903, is that principal, interest, taxes, insurance?
Yes, sir.
Love it. Monthly payment from the buyer then, incoming starting Friday.
Yep, 3139,
For a spread of
235.
235. And how long of a term do we give if we have 36 months?
24 months.
Okay, again, if you're watching this, 24 months gives Steve and Cami some pivot room, meaning buyer does everything they're supposed to do. They get cashed out in 24 months. Great, that's the numbers we're giving you. Buyer ends up needing some more time. Could happen because one little credit thing or misstep could cost 3 or 4 months very easily. So we leave that buffer and the numbers will be higher, but we're giving you the conservative. What's the monthly cash flow times 24?
5640.
5640. So just to summarize, as we track along, we got a 60 grand payday one. It's actually 62, but they're going to get credit for 60. 5640. Now it's run to payday 3. We mark this house up how much?
36,176.
36,176. Principal pay down on the 2903.
853, Chris.
All right, so this is awesome because when we were going through and you said 235 for the spread, I was going to jump in and go, I hope the principal's high. That's super good. 853. Times
Which is why we wanted to sell this house.
Yeah, this is neat. This is good for the viewer to see. If that, frankly, if that payday 2 was $100 or $50, great. 835 principal every single month. How much that come to?
So, Chris, do you want me to quickly explain this 34-month thing?
Oh, yes. So let me set it up, Steve. So 24 months is one number, but Steve's going to give you a higher number. He'll explain why. This happens a lot. In fact, a recent deal structure with Kimmy and Greg, they did the same exact thing. So go ahead, Steve and Kimmy.
Yep. So like Chris was saying, we typically do the 24 months here to get our numbers. The reason why it's marked at 34 months is because when I originally sent out the first contract in May of last year, and also then got it signed in November, the same principal lock-in was the same as from May of last year. So there's been 10 months of principal pay down before we actually sold this home. And that equals to like $10,000 something extra. So altogether, the principal pay down on this house will be $29,002.
So cool. And I want to repeat what I said on past videos because, again, I can't assume everybody saw all these, although I hope you do. But very few sellers will say to Steve or Cami or me or anyone, hey, what the heck, it's been 10 months since you were marketing it. They've got to catch that at the beginning in order for them to get their hands on that principal pay down. They didn't. They signed it. It's fair. When Steve negotiated and said, we're getting you $201,090, much higher than you originally were getting, they were tickled pink. So they probably could care less if Steve got the extra 10, but what a cool deal. 10 grand bonus. So 29 total. If we take away payday 1, remember, for the viewers, we're giving them 60 grand credit. We're not giving them 60,000 plus the 2 that went to Steve's pocket. Cash out payment on payday 3 then?
5,000.
Oh, go ahead.
5,178, Chris.
Okay, so very front end loaded. Really good thing to have. Good thing for the buyer to be vested in the home. Good thing for Steve's cash flow. This is pretty cool. So Friday, Steve picks up a check for $32,000. Not a bad start, but he gets a nice flow throughout this whole thing. It's pretty cool. Total profit?
Cami, give him the drum rolls.
$72,910 on a 24 month.
Yeah, 72 grand if it stops, 73 grand if it stops. You're going to have to, as a viewer, kind of tune into the future events we have coming up, like Summer of Deals, where all we do is deals and you get to interact with us, or go through more of these, or catch us on one of the wealth stacking sessions we do on the weekly Wicked Smart sit-downs every Thursday, because wealth stacking refers to Steve now going back to the seller in about 12 months and totally reworking this deal. He could take ownership of it. He could maybe just extend the term once or twice. All kinds of different ways to eke out more than 72 grand, although that's quite a nice profit. Steve and Cameron, before we wrap up and tell these guys where to get more good stuff like this, any other nuances or questions I didn't ask? Because last time I told Cammy that she opened up a whole can of worms of all kinds of cool stuff. So did I forget anything?
I would just say what's very important about this deal and anybody who's in this business, this is the long game here, right? It's about patience. We don't force people to move forward based off of our timelines. This was a perfect example of just continuing to follow up, listen, and adjust with them, right? Make sure it's a win-win for everybody. And if I gave up or got frustrated, because this was frustrating, I can't lie and say this wasn't frustrating. If I did that, there wouldn't be a deal. There wouldn't be a family that's having an opportunity to live in this home. They wouldn't be now relieved of this $2,900 payment that's been killing them, that's been coming out of pocket. It's all about patience and solving people's problems. So this was a good example of that.
Well, let's talk about then. This is a good way to wrap up. Cammy, talk about the win with the buyer, because Steve just hit something that sometimes I forget to bring up, and that is some of these buyers. This is the path. Like, especially with all the chaos with post-COVID, like, we're helping these people get into a home. Sometimes they thought they were done, and now generationally they get to tell their kids and so on and so forth how that works. So talk about them a little bit. Why'd they do this?
They are from, I think it's Puerto Rico. They actually own a home in Puerto Rico, but they just have had some credit issues, especially with going through COVID. But I think the really great thing about this buyer is that they're doing it with his brother-in-law that has been living with them for as long as they've been in the States. And one of their first questions to me was, I don't think I can afford this house. And, I did the numbers, and I was kind of like, yeah, you're like right at the cusp. And I was a little nervous about it, but then I sent them to our screening team, I'm so thankful that we have them, because I can count on them to really look at the finances of the buyers and tell me what the picture looks like. And I talk with Paul and Michelle a lot at our screening team, and even let them know that, I was helping Steve. So we have two separate businesses, but I was helping with helping with Steve on his, so to send me the information. But he was able to say, yeah, they make plenty of money. I mean, look at, he was able to show me their pay stubs and everything. And so that was the biggest concern of this buyer was, am I going to be able to, get qualified at the end? Do I make enough? He was really very concerned about that, because he didn't want to be house poor. So after we worked through all of that and, showed him that, yes, you do make enough money to support this property, he was just all in. And he was actually a real joy to work for.
Yes.
So you also, in a way, helped him. Like, there's a little financial education you gave him, because he maybe didn't understand in the States the process. He was fine, but he didn't get it on paper.
Yes.
Okay, the reason I love that, and I'll wrap up with this, is you guys know this, but for the viewers, so in 2008, after the crash, I went to the very same company that Cammy just referenced, who we all use for our deals. So since then, I've known that company and used them personally to enhance my credit, my wife's credit, my son-in-law. Everybody in the family used them, and now our entire community uses them. So there's some longevity there that's worth noting. That's one of many Dream Team members that we bring to the table when we're in the community like this. And quite frankly, some of the people like Cammy and Greg in the community bring other people that we didn't meet, and that's how the community has just gotten stronger and stronger. So we want you part of it. If you're watching these, especially been watching for a while, come hang out with us. The Summer of Deals event is in June, and that's at summerofdeals.com. And then the QLS live event, live meaning you will be there in person, we will be there in person, first time in 3 years, is coming up in September of 22. So watch for that as well. Guys, thanks a bunch, and we will see you soon at the next event.
Thank you, Chris.